So I was just recently informed by one of my subscribers and followers on Twitter that Monique has secured a victory against Netflix. Now, in case y'all don't know, a couple years ago, Monique had pretty much said that she was going to take a lawsuit out against Netflix, basically over racial discrimination, because they were only going to give her like $500,000 for a comedy special, which was extremely low ball for someone of her caliber. And we all know that Monique was pretty much blackballed out of Hollywood because of some comments that she made concerning Lee Daniels, or as I call him, Lisa Daniels. And I think, Tyler Perry and Okra, the Mammy Supreme. And in her career pretty much tanked for a while. The last major movie I think I saw her in was this movie called Almost Christmas that came out 4 years ago. And she really hasn't done anything major since then. And it's kind of crazy because, she won an Oscar. So it's always this thing where if you win an Oscar, you should get more roles and everything like that. But that's definitely not always the case, especially if you are a black actor or actress, because they say you have to, quote unquote, play the game. And Monique was not a willing participant. One thing I can say about Monique is she remained consistent. She never really changed her stance on much of anything. And she's one of the few people that actually called out the Mammy Supreme, because, some people kind of try to duck and dodge her. She was calling her out when people were still on Okra's side. It took Okra to go after a dead man, Michael Jackson, for people to realize that what Monique and many others outside of her have been saying about Okra for a while now, and the type of person that she is. But anyway, the article that I'm about to read from is basically going to discuss how they are now going to the next steps with her lawsuit, because now basically they're now going to court. She won the first round, and now they're basically about to go on to round two. It says Monique won a major victory against Netflix in her lawsuit alleging race and gender discrimination after a federal court ruled Thursday that she plausibly alleged the streaming giant illegally retaliated when she rejected a lowball offer to do a comedy special. The decision in the Central District Court in California means Monique Hicks, her real name, lawsuit can go forward, and Netflix's attempt to get it dismissed was denied. The decision by U.S. District Judge Andre Barretti Jr. notes that Monique raised a novel theory arguing that Netflix's alleged failure to negotiate an opening offer in good faith, as is customary in the industry, constitutes an adverse employment action for purposes of retaliation claim. Regardless of whether plaintiffs will ultimately prevail on her claims, dismissing this case under Rule 12b-6 is not appropriate, the judge said in his decision. Plaintiffs' complaint may raise a novel issue, but that does not justify dismissing it at this stage. The comedian and actress who won an Oscar for her supporting role in the drama film Precious filed her lawsuit last year, claiming Netflix offered her significantly less money for a comedy special in comparison to her fellow male and white comedians. In 2018, Netflix offered Monique $500,000 for a comedy special and refused to negotiate further. The lawsuit said, adding that the streaming service offered Amy Schumer 26 times more per show than Monique. That was an insult. And what was even more insulting was you had some black people that actually was trying to say that Monique was ungrateful. I'm like, y'all do realize in a way you're defending Amy Schumer, who is not only very unfunny, but she's also a joke thief. Like, it is no surprise to anybody who has been of knowing sound and mind that she has been known to steal black people's jokes, especially in particular Patrice O'Neal's jokes. Like, they did a side-by-side comparison and the jokes were pretty much identical. She changed a little wording here and there, but it was the exact same joke. Like, the woman is unfunny. She is very unattractive, like nothing appealing about her whatsoever. And remember, who she's friends with, Lena Dunham. Despite Monique's extensive resume and documented history of comedic success, when Netflix presented her with an offer of employment for an exclusive stand-up comedy special, Netflix made a lowball offer that was only a fraction of what Netflix paid other non-black female comedians. When she complained, Netflix allegedly failed to continue negotiations, which would have been the usual practice in Hollywood. Monique's lawyer, David DeRubertis, said in a statement that Netflix sought to convince the court that shutting down good faith negotiations because she raised concerns about pay discrimination is not retaliation under the law. The court disagreed. Today's ruling is an important victory for Hollywood talent who, just like all the other workers, need protections against retaliation if they raise concerns about pay discrimination during the hiring process. Employers in the entertainment industry need to take pay discrimination concerns seriously, fix them if the concerns have merit, and never retaliate against those who have the courage to speak up about equal pay. The ruling comes at a point when millions of Americans are protesting racial injustice and persistent discrimination against non-white people in employment, including Hollywood. Netflix, which on Thursday was celebrating the naming of the company's chief content officer, Ted Sarandos, as co-CEO, did not immediately comment on the court's ruling. In a statement to USA Today last year, Netflix said the company takes accusations of discrimination very seriously and would fight Monique's lawsuit, describing their opening offer to her as fair. They actually felt that they gave her a fair deal. They actually felt that offering her $500,000 was fair. That they basically said that's all they feel that this woman is worth, even though she has put in years of work behind this. I remember watching clips of Monique back in her stand-up days. I remember seeing clips of Monique when she was on Comic View. And then, of course, she then went on to have little parts in, shows. Of course, she started out at, playing Nikki Parker on Moesha on little episodes here and there because, that was a spinoff of that show. The Parkers was a spinoff. Then she had that show. Then she did other movies and everything like that. And of course, she ended up doing Precious, in which she won her Oscar. And then that's when her career kind of stalled, when she started to call out some of the quote unquote heavy hitters in the industry. And I also hate the fact that whenever black people have a concern about something, anything discriminatory wise, it's always seen as complaining. Why is that? Because like I said, you always got to really look at how things are worded. When they say complain, it makes it seem as if we're ungrateful. They basically saying she should have been grateful that they had even offered her that much, because it could have been lower. That's basically what they're saying. But they were willing to give Amy Schumer, who is, like I said, deathly unfunny, way, way, way more money. What's the last thing Amy Schumer's been in? But they'll go and try to beat down her door to put her in something before they do Monique. And see, they had to make it seem like Monique was, the typical angry black woman, ungrateful, for whatever they give her. See, this is the thing. Palm colored people love handing out trinkets. That goes back to the thing with the North Carolina reparations thing. They feel that we should be okay with that. And we're not. When I went through that and read all of that, we saw for what it was, and they was just basically handing out nigger trinkets, and thought we was going to be okay with that, and felt that we should have been okay with that. I bet you if it was any other group, especially PC, they wouldn't have been okay with that, and they would have found a way to fix it. As a matter of fact, they wouldn't even offered that. They would have offered the right things. They would have offered way more. They could be offered the keys to the kingdom while we are handed just a keychain. But shout out to Monique on her victory going forward. Hopefully this could definitely mean more for her, and definitely others who are trying to get specials on various streaming platforms. And also another thing, where are all these feminists at? That's why to the black women out there, again, I say, I don't know how in the world y'all allowed yourselves to get lined up with them women. Because I have yet to hear a peep from any of them PC feminists around and surrounding Monique. But they be the same ones screaming and harping all over the place at every award show they go to, saying women need to be paid more. They need to be paid more just as much as the men. But when Monique says something, it's crickets.